Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. All week long, we've been exploring together the things St. Paul said about love. That might be surprising. Paul is known for a lot of things, but I doubt his views on love are the first things that spring to our minds. Perhaps they should be. If we've learned anything this week, it is that for Paul, God's love and our love lived out together is the foundation for everything else. As we wrap up looking at what Paul said on the topic of this kind of love, let me share some selections from Romans 12. Let love be genuine. Hate what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not lag in zeal. Be ardent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in affliction. Persevere in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints. Pursue hospitality to strangers. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. These verses read like a set of rules for Christian behavior. I think instead it is a recipe for Christian attitudes and the behaviors that come from love. We have spoken already this week about how for Paul, love from God is to be enacted in our lives. Paul calls believers to radical love that reflects Christ's own example. For Paul, love is not passive, but active. He offers some practical ways mutual love should be reflected in their lives, citing devotion, honor, zeal, patience, prayer, generosity, and hospitality. These things aren't always easy for us, which should indicate that the only way we can live them out is through love. Paul knows this love must have its source in God's love for us. God's love for us experienced becomes our love for others lived. Favorite stories is how I will conclude this week as we think about love. Alexander Papaderos was a doctor of philosophy, a teacher, a politician, and a resident of Athens. He had become kind of a living legend in Greece. Many said that to speak to him, or even just to shake his hand, was to experience extraordinary electric humanity. At the last session on the last morning of a 2-week seminar on Greek culture, Papaderos rose from his chair and asked, "Are there any questions?" The room was quiet. These 2 weeks generated enough questions for a lifetime, but for now there was only silence. "No questions?" he asked again. Finally, one brave young man raised his hand timidly. "Dr. Papaderos, what is the meaning of life?" You can imagine the laughter that followed, and some stood and began to leave. But Papaderos held up his hand and stilled the room. He looked at the young man with serious eyes. "I will try to answer your question." Taking his wallet out of his hip pocket, Papaderos brought out a very small, round mirror about the size of a quarter. He explained that when he was a small child, during the Second World War, he was very poor. One day on a road in his remote little village, he had found the broken pieces of a mirror from a German motorcycle. He said, "I tried to find all the pieces and put them together, but it wasn't possible." So he had kept the largest piece, and by scratching it on a stone, he had made it round. It became his favorite toy. He became fascinated by the fact that he could reflect light into dark places where the sun would never shine, in deep holes and crevices and in dark closets. It became a game to get light into the most inaccessible places. Papaderos kept the little mirror, and as he grew up, he would take it out from time to time and continue the challenge of the game. When I became a man, said Papaderos, I grew to understand that this was not just a child's game, but a metaphor for the meaning of life. I came to understand, he said, that I am not the light or the source of the light, but light, truth, understanding, and knowledge and love. It's there and will shine in the dark places if I reflect it. Paul calls believers to radical love that reflects Christ's own example. For Paul, love is not passive, but active. God's love for us experienced becomes our love for others lived. Thanks for sharing these moments with me, and remember to let this day belong to God.